everybody, it's me, Chandra Faith, with Reading Rainbow's Divination, and today we've got a pick a card for your past life relationship with your person. So we have pile number 1, the clear quartz, pile number 2, the dried white rose, and pile number 3, a charm from my good friend Not Cool Jewelry that says, "You got this," right here. So yeah, pile number 1, pile number 2, and pile number 3. So I will see you at your pile. Bye. Hey everybody, Chandra Faith here. And we are doing a pick a card reading for your for your past life relationship with the person you are thinking of. For pile 1, who chose the quartz crystal. Shiny, glowy. It's like a piece of ice that you can hold in your hand. It doesn't melt. It just feels cool. It's a cooling energy. I've been having like a tension headache or something, and I just held this for a while, and now I feel great. Really proves the power of crystals. So before we start all of the readings today, since you're pile 1, we are going to light my intention candle, which is purple for the third eye chakra. And so I can connect to spirit and do that time traveling to see where you guys were at in a past life. So here we go. Let's cut all cords with negative bonds. Put it in my bottle. Boop. And then we'll light the candle. Oh yeah. Here we go. 1, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. Everything seems kind of lopsided. Anubis, what's happening here? This is my familiar Anubis, and usually he's upset because he's like, that is not the right size candle, but I'm not gonna. He needs bigger candles, but they take forever to burn, so got a deal. Hopefully it'll stick in there. I think it is. Looking good. Okay, pile 1. Let's see where you're at. For the main reading, I'm going to use the Archetypes Oracle cards by Kim Krans. And this was my first Oracle deck I ever got. And it just called to me, and gotten to know this deck. So, all right, spirits, for pile number 1, what was their past life relationship with her person? The Bardo, the fault line. Smooth that over. The fault line. visualization. Okay. Ooh, my light is a little bright too. Let's lower that down. I don't know what is happening, guys, but we'll just continue on. I can make sure that you can see the cards. Okay, make sure. Okay. You can. Just kind of a glare on cards. Little mystery suns. Okay. Spirit, can we please get insight on pile one's past life connection? The ocean. Ocean energy. And Eros. That is a beautiful overall bottom of the deck energy for you guys. I'm going to read about Eros first, and that's where we're going to start. Eros, love as desire, eroticism, sensuality. Though Eros can be depicted as unbridled sexuality and eroticism, a more contemplative understanding of this archetypal energy leads us to the root of desire itself. What do we long for? Why are we awakened by love? What makes us hesitate in the face of intimacy? Eros reconnects us with the primal longing to merge with another human being. Nature, music, art, plants, food, or anything that we perceive we are separate from. Eros allows us to momentarily unite. Our heart, oh, wow, need a breath of fresh air. Our heart embraces otherness, and in doing so, we further understand our own. Our life force awakens. This card reveals an inevitable initiation into love's labyrinth. You may find yourself swirling in a new territory of desire and sensuality. Explore the labyrinth with a curious and honest heart, and remember, though the way is circuitous, you are always being led toward its center. When light, passion, playfulness, sexual health. When dark, madness, projection, obsession. Go Deeper, Love Sonnet 11 by Pablo Neruda. Basket of Figs by Ellen Bass. Whew. I'm just getting all kinds of swirling energies. The Hindu goddess Lalita, she who plays, can help activate Eros energy, is also known as Kamshvarvi, Empress of Desire. Plato reminds us that Eros can be experienced as platonic love. It is activated when we witness beauty and truth in the world, when our barriers soften. So what I'm seeing here is you definitely were lovers in your past relationship. We have the Bardo, clarified by the Unseen. It's like two eyes. Two very different eyes, but they're both eyes. The Fault Line, clarified by the Healer. The Kiss, clarified by the Ocean. And I just see someone kissing someone off as they go on to a ship. And I love that because I have a metaphor for relationships, which is a ship. And I just see it as a ship on a journey once you enter this relationship. I'm going to take a drink of water. Okay. Oof. Oof. Oh my God. gosh, sorry again. I gotta do my Mercury retrograde warning. I'm doing this very late at night, but I had a call to do this, and I feel a little loopy, but it's interesting. And I feel like the retrograde is just kind of swirling these energies around, but I like it. I like the feeling of your guys' relationship and how there is just this beauty in a divide, bridging a divide through healing each other emotionally and keeping each other together. It seems like one of you was a sailor or who lived by the sea, fisherman, some sea work, and the other one stayed on land. And you were kept together with the kiss, your love, your affection towards each other. But the underlying layer is that you are also connected spiritually and through your gifts as mediums. That's what I'm seeing, that you had a special connection with death and with those on the other side of the veil, the dead, and somehow that relates to this ocean dwelling. I just see you guys living in an ocean town or a coastal town, or even like a lake, a large lake, but just water. Water was very important to you guys for your well-being, for your spiritual well-being, and maybe it could be also that one of you died in the water. Whew, I gave my belly, my sacral a little chill. Ooh, spooky. I think I'm doing this in October. But yeah, I love this pairing, the unseen with the bardo, these two eyes. Ooh, that's giving me chills too, like staring into these eyes. But that's what these both are a part of the same realm. The bardo is the song of the dead, and the unseen is what is beyond our physical sight and our five senses, and where the dead and spirits and demons and elementals, they all live outside of our natural perceptions, yet some of us have stronger gifts in communicating with those energies that are outside of our own physical reality. Ooh, so yes, very sea people, I'd like to say. So let's go and do our fairy tale oracle, which can tell more of a story of your connection in a past life. But I really see this beautiful seafaring family, and that it'll probably help you now in this present connection to go to the water. And in just the way that I'm like moving this crystal, I feel like that reminds me of both like foamy white foam on the sea, and also just like very clear water, and finding beautiful stones or beautiful little sea trinkets. Oh, and it's such a beautiful relationship, but it's also sad. There's this sadness and this connection, and I kind of see one of you dying and the other one still talking to the other person after death and talking to the ocean. And oh, it's so beautiful. It's like I can see a lighthouse and a little kitty. It's so cute. And so, wow. So, yeah, something about lighthouses too are really beautiful to you. I love lighthouses too. I think they're quite romantic and spooky. But I also find a lot of spooky things romantic. So we have what came of picking flowers, greed, the red shoes, obsession. Let's get one more card. Here, spirits, to tell their story. Ooh, not that one. Put that one back in the water. There we go. Vasilia the Brave, courage. So we got what came of picking flowers, number 23. The red shoes, obsession. Vasilia the Brave, courage. So, let's read about what came of picking flowers, number 23. So I'm just going to read the full story on each of these cards, and then you can piece together your own story of your past life relationship. What came of picking flowers? Greed. There was once a woman who had 3 daughters whom she loved very much. One day, the eldest was walking in a water meadow when she saw a pink growing in the stream. She stooped to pick the flower, but her hand had scarcely touched it when she vanished altogether. The next morning, the second sister went out into the meadow to see if she could find any traces of the lost girl. And as a branch of lovely roses lay trailing across her path, she bent down to move it away, and in doing so could not resist plucking one of the roses. In a moment, she too had disappeared. Wondering what could have become of her 2 sisters, the youngest followed in their footsteps and fell victim to a branch of delicious white jessamine. So the old woman was left without any daughters at all. This rare old tale makes good use of the enchanting number of 3, and thus, when this card comes to you, know that the power of 3 is being enacted and activated within your life. Throughout the story, 3 daughters are lost when they pick flowers for you. This is a message to be sure that what you take is yours to begin with. It is not a time to reap, but to sow instead. And if there is a consequence of any action in the past, you will have help in the form of a young male who will use his wits and charm to assist, as the brother does within the tale. Your family will offer you help. Any relationships that you're in that are not working will transform, as each of the marriages of the daughters does too. Each is freed even by doing the impossible, killing a man who cannot be killed. So no matter how entrapped you may feel by destructive relationships and poor choices you have made, know that there is always a solution, and that solution is on its way to you now. The dove within the tale is the beginning of a new time of peace and pure love for you, and a return to people, friends, and family you have isolated yourself from. Meaning, there is always a way, and you will find one. Do not take more from nature than what you need. Nature will offer the solutions to all problems. Stay calm, stake your claim, the threefold law, a return from nature, slipping away from family and friends, a time in another environment, a way to return to your home, a helpful and kind young man. So what I'm getting from this card and this story is that you lost a love to the water, just like how these girls vanished after they touched the flowers in the water meadow. And it's like you had this spiritual communication with each other afterward, and you might still have that in this present situation, this spiritual connection that had continued on after death. And now it seems like right now could be in a separation and still communicating telepathically, or you're in a relationship together and you guys are just like wonder twins, and very understanding of each other's emotions because you have such water element in your relationship and this connection to the water and the ocean, and this like love hate relationship with water, this fear and love of it. And this comes from this past life and this past grief of how the thing water that brought you together is what took you apart as well. But it was for you to understand that death is not the end all, that death is something that can be transcended, especially with love. And talking to a dead loved one is very important. It's very important to do that work. Even now, you might not really understand or fear your gifts of talking to the dead, but it's a key factor to the happiness of your soul. And I have that gift, and it's easy to ignore for a while, but the soul will call for it. If you ignore your gifts, it's going to call louder, and you'll feel more pain in your being, in your mind and your body. So, and this card came right over the bardo and the unseen section of your reading, and I just feel this very deep connection with the dead and water. It's like this dead, watery world, which sounds really spooky and scary, but it's also very beautiful. It's like, it doesn't look dead, what I see this. It's like the Little Mermaid's palace kingdom. There's no darkness. It's just they live in a different world than us. So it's a beautiful, beautiful relationship you had. And that idea of still being able to feel love and not feel alone after someone has passed is really a beautiful story, and that you guys are continuing it on, and to really cherish the life you have, and the fun in just talking to each other, because I think we take so many moments for granted with our loved ones, and we don't see it till they're gone. And at the same time, when they do pass, a lot of us just leave it at that. We don't try to talk to them anymore. We don't try to feel their presence. We just let it go, and then there's an emptiness. There's grief. Grief is love with no place to go. And so if you believe that your loved one is truly gone, then of course you'll feel grief, because your love is stuck inside you. It's not going forward, it's not being received. But if you connect to the spiritual world, if you connect to your past loved ones, they are there, and you can send out that love and feel that love come back from them. And that's how we make a happy connection between life and death, how we go through that circle of life. If we view life and death as a straight line, kind of seeing in this fault line in Healer, if you see it as just this divide, you'll just feel cracked, or feel like you're going to slip through the crack once you die. But you got to bring that healing, that it's a circle. It is a circle instead of just a line. It makes it so, it takes the fear out when you understand it's that life and death is a circle and not a line. Because you can understand that, hey, I'm just going into another phase. And regular change won't seem so bad as well. Because I think with change, we do die little deaths with change, especially change that we don't like. It it kills us in a way that we have to kind of switch our perspective, but then we're back on our feet again. And we experience change all the time in it. And it's a constant thing. The only thing we can rely on is change. I like that. So over your fault line and healer cards, we got the red shoes obsession. So let's go over that. She danced, and she was forced to dance through the gloomy night. The shoes carried her over stack and stone. She was torn till she bled. She danced over the heath till she came to a little house. Here, she knew, dwelt the executioner. And she tapped with her fingers at the window and said, come out, I cannot come in, for I am forced to dance. And the executioner said, thou dost not know who I am, I fancy. I strike bad people's heads off, and I hear that my axe rings. Don't strike my head off, said Karen, then I can't repent of my sins, but strike off my feet in the red shoes. It's a beautiful picture. Hans Christian Andersen uses the symbol of red shoes in more than one fairy tale. And they symbolize, when given up gladly for friendship and love, a sacrifice because they are so valued and treasured. But in this tale, a trickster, the devil, almost in his guise as he appears in the traditional tarot, offers a young girl red shoes. She covets them and misunderstands what they are because her greed for them is all-encompassing, and she accepts them. They are more important to her than her relationships, her community, and respect. This is the key to this story, that all things that lead to our addiction and compulsion that control us and enslave us are most often offered to us, and they begin to chip away at what makes us good people. All addictions hurt us, not only physically. They destroy us ethically. So the first lesson when we receive this card is to know when to say no to an offer we find hard to resist. In this tale, the young girl's shoes are activated to do what they're meant to do. They dance, but they have no interest or concern for the young girl who wears them. They spin and turn until she's exhausted and weeping and out of control. This is the same with all compulsions, addictions, and things that start out as fun. This is how addictions begin. Her desire for the shoes overrides everything, just as addicts steal from those who they once loved. The craving overwhelms all love. It becomes the reason for living, and it can kill us. The only solution for the girl is to beg for the woodcutter to chop off her feet, a horrible, horrible option, but she begs for him to release her from the shoes, which will not come off otherwise. So she sacrifices her feet and begins again, broken and crippled, and yet, oh my gosh, I feel like I sneezed, I yawned, and I burped. Threes. You got that three thing. Everything comes in threes. And just like, I think all these exhalations of my body is this spirit energy. You're so full of spirit energy, of, I just want to say dead energy, and it's really beautiful. It's this beautiful dead, I want to say dead army, but it's like, it's not like a malicious army. It's like a gang of like cool party kids all dressed in white, and it's really awesome. And yeah, so that was a little detour with my burp, but let's keep going. This card asks you to consider a radical, strong solution to a difficult problem. It could be a relationship that feels out of control, or your devotion or addiction to something that started as a recreation. a desire or longing, something you thought will be wonderful and give you a great deal, and take nothing, except it is taken, perhaps even taken over your life. You need to seek help and you need to break the chains. Cut yourself free and start again. This could be painful and difficult, but it will result in being free to be yourself again. Expect a whole lot wiser. Expect a whole lot wiser and able to help others who wish to embrace the curse of the beautiful red shoes too. Meaning, obsession, need, slave, curse. What started out as pleasure has become an addiction. There is an unhealthy attachment in your life. Take steps to free yourself from your own compulsion. Seek help and support in gaining control. Reassert yourself as the sovereign of your own life. Take back your power. So, with the fault line and the healer here, and the story of the red shoes, I feel that before you lost this... Hi, my camera cut out, and that's been happening during my Mercury retrograde readings. So it's no joke, for me at least. So what I was saying, I was like, oh, how did you interrupt me at this very moment? But let me regain my composure. But with the story of the red shoes, it seemed that you were so connected to your person in a past life that after they passed, and it seems like it was very suddenly, first of all, you had to bear the responsibilities that you both had shared during your partnership together when they were alive. And you were also just, the death created an addiction, an obsession over your dead partner, and your abilities to speak with the dead, speak with the partner, were at first unhealthy, and you had to take some time to stop obsessing over your partner. And even this goes for non-dead partners, that if you obsess with them, and not focus on yourself, you are going to deteriorate. You're going to have to deal with the parts of your life that you're ignoring while you're obsessed with someone. And this is what this story is about, is that she makes a deal for these shoes, and she thinks that's what she wants, but it takes over. Unhealth obsessions take over, and it takes you away from taking care of yourself, and that's the most important thing to do, because without you, there's no relationship. If you deteriorate, the relationship is gone as well. You have to be there for yourself to be fully in the relationship. So it was hard. It was really hard, and you had to go through this break and then this healing. And it was a hard time for you. And I think now, in this lifetime, it's important to really be grateful that you found this person again, alive, and able to communicate with them. So hopefully you are. And finally we have Vasilia the Brave, Courage. So let's read that. And that was number 18. You got number 23, number 20, and 18. If any of those numbers are significant to you. Okay. Vasilisa the Brave. Don't be frightened, Vasilisa, and do not be sad, for the morning is wiser than the evening. Lie down and sleep, and tomorrow you'll feel much better. Vasilisa felt all her sadness slipping away from her and fell asleep. This beautiful fairy tale is a message of great courage, of light in darkness, and of how entering into the darkness and into the realm of the crone can result in great rewards if you keep a quiet, still center. Vasilisa is a young woman whose sisters demand she undertake a truly frightening quest. Fortunately, although her sisters bear her no love, she has with her a magical doll within which is the voice of her mother and part of her spirit. And this doll speaks to Vasilisa whenever she has need of her mother's guidance and wisdom. And she takes the doll and her courage into a situation where she confronts the great archetype of the crone. After fulfilling many tasks without complaint or demur, she is rewarded with the light which she sought. This tale of Vasilisa has two names, sometimes Vasilisa the Brave, sometimes Vasilisa the Wise, but it is also about honoring the mother, Vasilisa's mother, the maiden, Vasilisa, and the crone. Vasilisa endures all the lessons at the hands of the crone, and while her sisters feel they have sent her to sure death, in fact, they have sent her to a place where she will learn the most. So when you receive this card, know that there's deep motherly love for you, for and with you. It may not be from a literal mother, but there is wisdom, women's wisdom, which has been given to you and which can sustain you. The feminine ancestral line is strong and of great comfort to you. A mother, grandmother, or female ancestor guides you in visions and dreams. It is yours alone, and only you can hear the voice of the mother, the goddess within. When you enter the darkness, know that you can carry with you the voice of wisdom within, and it will be available for you when you most need it. Listen to that still, calm voice within, and know that you are the one who will return with light, and the situation that once troubled you so much will be transformed. Meaning courage and comfort, initiation in facing your fears. From darkness, the greatest light is shown. Guidance from ancestors. A difficult time creates much wisdom. You will pass any test put before you. Do your best, and you will do more than enough. A time of separation from old family or friends. A time of new beginnings. The way forward becomes clear. Elders will teach you wisdom. So what I'm getting here is that your past self is guiding you, or your memories, energy from that past self is guiding you now. And you also may have ancestors or family members who have passed, who have also had these same experiences, these same connections to water or the ocean, and are guiding you. And that if you are still fearing your gifts of speaking to the dead, of being a medium, find those female ancestors that you can connect to. And if you don't have any that you can connect to or think of, I'm going to be pulling out some Divine Feminine cards, and you can use those spirits to guide you as well, or in placement for female energies that you can connect to that are not 3D, that are out beyond our realm, so that you can just feel safe, because it is scary working with the dead, working with something that's outside of our reality. And it's really great to find female ancestors and spirits to connect us, because it's really that motherly, nurturing feeling that we need to guide us into the spirit world. So let's look at those Divine Feminine cards. And they're right here. So let's see what Divine Feminine energies that spirit would like you to connect to. All right. What Divine Feminine energies energy do we have? For pile number 1, please. All right, got these two. Okay, we have my Bago, the warrior saint. I am a warrior of love. My devotion attracts resources and support. And we got Yeshi Sogyal, Lady of the Lotus Born. Embodiment is the deepest bliss. My body was made for enlightenment. All right. I am the warrior of love. My devotion attracts resources and support. My Bago represents the otherworldly courage and resourcefulness that comes with deep devotion and commitment. My Bago was born in the 17th century in what is now Amritsar, Punjab, at the time of the 10th Guru Gobind Singh. She was raised a devout Sikh and was trained by her father to use a sword so that she could uphold the Sikh tenet to defend but not attack. When she was a young woman, her village was threatened by Mughal forces. She heard that Khalsa, or the warrior saints appointed by the Guru to defend the Sikhs, had defected and were fleeing back to their villages. Mai Bago took her sword and went village to village convincing the warrior saints to go back and protect the Guru from advancing Mughal army. She gathered 40 men to fight with her, and on December 29th, 1705, the small, courageous band of Sikh warriors rushed out to protect the legacy of the religion in the Battle of Muktsar with Mai Bago as their leader. Mai was the only one to survive. Guru Gobind Singh blessed these 40 men and declared them Shali Mukti, the 40 liberated ones. Mai became the Guru's personal bodyguard and dressed in men's attire until she retired and spent her last years immersed in meditation. Mai Bago is considered a great Sikh warrior saint. The house where she spent her last years in meditation has been converted into a Gurdwara, a Sikh place of worship. Her sword and musket are on display as saint relics and as symbols of the fierce courage Mai displayed out of her devotion to the Guru. She waved the Sikh religion from extinction. Or she saved the Sikh religion from extinction. When your soul selects her card, devotion grounds us and allows us to see just how many resources are available to us, and devotion elevates our perception so that the spiritual realm can infuse us with light, strength, and energy that is greater than our own. Devotion is the action we feel compelled to take that demonstrates our commitment to love. The power of Mai Bago's devotion kept the Sikh religion alive. The task seemed impossible, 40 Sikhs against the whole Mughal army, but what has never happened before becomes possible through true devotion and the force of pure love. Mai is the warrior saint who reminds us to become fully devoted in what we love. Then courage isn't an effort. It isn't something we have to cultivate. Courage is what commitment to love bestows to us. Devote yourself fully to what's at hand, to what is in your heart, and the strength, the support, and the courage to complete the task will rise to meet you. Soul voice meditation. What am I committed to with my entire being? So here we have courage again, just like your Vasilisa story. And maybe the 1700s could be significant to your connection. And just this warrior energy, I feel like, and that the idea that she fought with 40 warriors and she was the only one survived. It's this I get the movie Unbreakable and how he just keeps surviving things. And there's a sadness to that. There's a sadness to that right after that joy of survival. And it's that guilt of who you've lost. So that guilt can
still run in your system, in your soul. So you've got to release that, because that's not yours anymore in this lifetime. You are a survivor, and that's important because you are a connection between the living and the dead, and you need to survive because you're not helpful being dead. And maybe have thought, like, sometimes you've had low moments where you feel like you're closer to the dead or want to be dead, and it's not going to help your soul's journey to not fulfill that journey that you have to be this bridge for realms outside of this reality. And that's a beautiful, beautiful and difficult journey, but I think you got this. So then we have Yeshi Sogyal, Lady of the Lotus Born. So let's look at that. Embodiment is the deepest bliss. My body was made for enlightenment. Yeshi Sogyal represents a deep wisdom that has been much misunderstood. She is the ultimate spiritual wisdom that the human body is all that is needed for enlightenment. Yeshi was born a princess in Tibet in 777 CE. Oh my gosh, I love 777 because my favorite number is 21 and my favorite one-digit number is 7. So 3 sevens is so wonderful. And it's interesting that she was around the 1700s, and then she's the 700s. So those centuries could be significant to your past life as well. According to legend, she was born in the same way as the Buddha. A mantra resounded, and her mother gave birth to Yeshi painlessly. Her name means Wisdom Lake Queen. Oh wow, that ocean energy, Wisdom Lake Queen, own it. It's who you are in your past life, a Wisdom Lake Queen. Because at the moment of her birth, a nearby lake doubled in size, symbolizing her tremendous wisdom, her waters of enlightenment. From a young age, Yeshi only wanted to practice the Dharma instead of getting married. But the Emperor of Tibet gave her to Padmasambhava, who had traveled to Tibet from India to spread the Buddhist teachings. He became her main consort and husband, and together they each founded their own lineage of Buddhist teachings. She spent many years isolated in meditation and accomplished several cycles of tantric spiritual practices. She received esoteric initiations and became known as a fully enlightened Buddha in the form of an ordinary woman. She is also considered to be an incarnation of Vajrayogini, and her husband predicted that she would reincarnate as the legendary Tibetan Buddhist tantric teacher and yogini Mashig Labdron. When your soul selects her card, it can be so easy to forget that everything we touch, everything we say, and everything we do is not separate from the divine. Yes, she embodied one of the most potent spiritual truths, the female body is an asset to enlightenment, not a hindrance. The body is a vehicle to free us from the idea that there are any limitations to reality. Tantra, which weaves together the sacred and the mundane to reveal the spiritual nature of all things aloud. Yeshi to realize that she was both an ordinary woman and an incarnation of the Buddha, Vajrayogini. We are both human and divine. We are both a mortal body and an eternal essence that continues on. The body too often can be the scapegoat for so much hate, distress, and violence. The body holds infinite wisdom, pleasure, and possibilities. This is the moment to see your gorgeous body as the tremendous gift it is. It's the moment to realize that there is no great intoxication than just being fully in your body from head to soul. Yeshi is the call to remember the hollowness of your flesh, the deep wisdom your body contains, and the temple you walk around in every day. Soul voice meditation. What helps me remember that my body is sacred? So there it is moving out of that guilt that you are still alive, that you, from your past life, that guilt that you still have a body. Release that. Enjoy your body. Be grateful for your body in this lifetime. And that's how you will heal yourself. You, lake queen. She's my lake queen. Okay. So, got some divination blocks. Ooh. So we got an I, a 0, or an O, a 6 or a 9, an umbrella, and a G. So see if those letters and numbers resonate with you. And for the umbrella, I see you being so overwhelmed by your gifts and your emotions from these gifts and your past life connections with waters and possibly your ancestral connection with water. You probably have ancestors who live by the water, or are from areas, maybe island nations or coastal nations, are in your blood. So, but use that umbrella to protect you from all that's coming in. And I think your ancestors, once you get connected with them, will be that umbrella for you to protect you and guide you and not blow away in the wind. They're gonna be one of those like fancy umbrellas that are awesome. So here is, where am I putting this? Okay. So we have this first, music. So music is very important, and I feel like music and the ocean and water really go together. Like listening to music by water or in a bath, it just, the sound goes into the water so great, and I think it resonates. It really resonates and fills the water with memories and sounds. So go into that water music healing. And I'm going to have a song with your pile in the description box. So see if that connects with you as well. We have this little bracelet that says, I love hanging with you. So this connection, this deep connection that goes beyond the veil, that goes beyond life and death. Then we have a little house. So I feel like you are such a home to people and to these spirits that you can talk to, and to this past life connection with your person. And it's just like you are this physical home to spirits who have lost that physical body. Then we have this cap to a bottle that I found outside my house. It's a spirit bottle, or a alcohol bottle, but spirits. And so if you're not drinking, please don't drink. But if you are able to drink, I found that is a good way to connect to spirits. Have some wine one night and open yourself up. Make sure you're protected at the same time. Look into that. And use that energy to open yourself up to your mediumship gifts. And maybe even look up mediumship and learn more about that. Then we have this, I put this in, and then I was like, I don't really know what this is, but it kind of looks like a robotic bug. And what I get from it is very like Jules Verne or like steampunk. If you don't know what steampunk is, look that up, and maybe you'll be into that too. And maybe it's helping you connect back to your past life. And then we have this little dog collar that says Ike, from a little stuffed doggy I had. And this is for me reminds me of loyalty. It's a little heart too, and just like what I'm getting now from this is it reminds me of like when your pet passes away and you keep their collar, you know, to stay connected to them. And that's kind of how your past life is about keeping that memory alive. And I'm just feeling so sad. Like I really feel like this is someone's dog. Maybe your dog had just died, and he's still there, or she's still there with you, and you can still talk to your pets as well. So that's all I have for you, pile 1 for this reading. So I'll catch you next time. Bye. Hello, pile number 2. And you chose the dried white rose. And here is your reading for your past life relationship with your person. So for your main reading, we're going to be using the archetypes oracle cards. So Spirit, let's get some insight on their their past life with their person. All right. Oof. There's some big energy here. I was like, oh, I thought pile 1 was really connected to the spiritual world, and you guys were definitely lovers in the past life as well. And wow, there's just, it's like this powerful energy, and your bottom of the deck energy is the box. Kind of also, I'm getting like the coffin. So, I mean, in the past, you both have died. So it's like you entered that realm, this big cube, kind of like if you guys are into Star Trek and think of the Borg, and their ships are just these big cubes. And I feel like you guys both, after you died, entered this world and went on this separate journey in this afterlife. And then you came back here and in this present, and you are now working through that. And in the past, I'm seeing just, I feel like very powerful creative energy. You have the sustainer with the starborn with Kairos. And guys, you got 3 initiation cards. So I'm going to read to you what initiation cards are about. I was like, where did I put this? I also wanted to give my Mercury retrograde warning. I have this whole week, I have fumbled my words and have taken, usually the books open up to me really quickly and I can find what I'm looking for very quickly, but it is so hard for me this week, and so I'm working with that, with figuring that out. So I thought there was a thing. Okay. Maybe I can't find it. Let's see, hold on. Where did I find it? here we go. The initiations. The initiation cards are similar to trump cards or the major arcana in the tarot. They represent the big moments, junctures, and situations in life that carry major significance along our journey. Archetypally speaking, initiations are events that change us on a fundamental level. They are the big whammies of life. In the model of the hero's journey, they may be called the ordeal. Think falling in love, heartbreak, beyond heartbreak, death of a loved one, marriage, divorce, moving, having a child, facing a trial, or experiencing a spiritual awakening that shakes your foundation. We know we have gone through an initiatory experience when the very fiber of life as we know it has changed. We can't go back to the person we were before, but we are not yet quite sure who the new self is because of the weight that these cards carry. Take time to contemplate them deeply. You could study one of these concepts for an entire lifetime and be left with unanswered questions. That is what makes them so powerful. They are the keys that unlock the entire deck. Eventually, we come to understand that the initiations are markers of a deeply personal experience that connects us with the timeless story of humanity. The timeless story of humanity. So, you and your person had you went through it all. I'm going to read through that list again of things. Falling in love, heartbreak, beyond heartbreak, death of a loved one, marriage, divorce, moving, having a child, facing a trial, or experiencing a spiritual awakening that shakes your foundation. You could have gone through all of these, but I feel like you went through most of these with this person. You went through an entire lifetime. So this person that you're thinking about, you may feel this weird, deep connection with them, and it's because you had a full life with them and experienced the gauntlet of all these things that you experience in life. So I'll show you your card. So you got Alethea. Always, pardon my pronunciations. Clarified by Anima Mundi. We have the Animal, clarified by the Ring. We have the Lover, clarified by 3 cards, Kairos, Starborn, and Sustainer. So wow, so much to unravel here, but let's dive in. So let's talk about Alethea. And that means truth, and when light, it's clarity, revelation, disclosure, and when dark, distortions, gaslighting, excuses. So truth, and you can see like the dark and the light within that truth, and it's clarified by Anima Mundi. Which is the soul of the world, all that is. I'll show you the picture. When light, tending to the sacred details of life. When dark, overwhelmed by the bigness of existence. So it's like this all-encompassing reality. The embrace of Anima Mundi is available anytime, anywhere, to anyone, day or night, rich or poor. It is a process of unveiling our resistance to its love. And if you want to research more on Anima Mundi, I think you should, to connect to your past life. Alchemical drawings of Anima Mundi, the life and paintings of Hilma af Klint. Oh, Clint. Yeah, that's great. It's kind of like this connection to everything. You see that person meditating in the middle. So what I'm seeing is like your connection in a past life. I feel like you were like lovers and like philosophers at the same time with these cards. That you were seeking truth, and that what I'm also seeing is that one of you was the female, and she wasn't able to be as open with her views in public like the male counterpart was, but their love grew out of having these mental battles, talking to each other. Okay, sorry everybody. Another Mercury retrograde thing that keeps happening with my phone is that it keeps getting really full and really quickly, and it hasn't done that before. So, but I'm slowly figuring it all out. So, sorry about that, but yeah, I feel like this week there's going to be some interruptions, but we will continue on. So, yeah, what I was saying is that you were fluid with this relationship, and it really helped you as the female counterpart, or if you are the female counterpart, to really grow that philosophical mind that society didn't let you have. And it was beautiful. I don't see any negative cards at all in this situation. Like, it was a beautiful relationship, divinely guided, as you got the Starborn card, where you guys could be from the same star seed family or dimension or even another planet, and that this also means that you just have a deep spiritual connection, spiritual journey, where you are meant to create things just like this, creating like the sustainer, and creating and sustaining your life and your living. We also have the animal clarified by the ring, and the animal is being connected to that instinct, that inner animal, and the ring is like a promise and a representation of that circularness of life, and that you guys had that connection to the animal world and to the spiritual world, and it was this bond, this ring, and you might have had actual rings and were married to each other. But you saw the bigger picture. You see this ring is in like the middle of space, that is just, space is out there, but you also had this animal connection, maybe this animal attraction. I was just like, you guys just had such a wonderful relationship, and I think you can continue that into this lifetime. And if you're in separation or haven't met them yet, then it's just keep doing what you're doing and continue on, and you'll find them, because something that is so beautiful in the past is going to bring something more beautiful in the present. So we have the Lover clarified by the Starborn, Kairos, and the Sustainer. So Kairos is our third initiation card that you got. So let me see what's that about. Kairos, mythic time, synchronicity, alignment, ease in decisions and actions, when dark, fighting against time. Compare the Greek words chronos and kairos. This will guide you to an understanding of logos and mythos. So a lot of so I feel like you guys talked about like these philosophical issues and these Greek concepts as well. and that this represents the timing and the synchronicities in this that are bringing you together in this present time. You may be finding a lot of synchronicities in your relationship that it's just like, wow, how is this even possible? This is beyond coincidence, or these coincidences are too good to be true. But they are, and I mean, there aren't. They are there for you. There's no coincidences with coincidences. I'm going to read to you about the sustainer, because I think that will reveal a little bit about your past life and what you did. The sustainer, the peacemaker, the upholder, the preserver. When light, abundant, generous, supportive, reliable. When dark, overworked, resentful, trapped, and tired. So it does seem like you kept the world going, your own little world. And I think that the female in the relationship had to keep in her intellect and her mind to sustain the family and to keep the family going, and that she was relied on not just for her intellectual truths, your aletheia, but for her nurturing nature. And so I feel like I see this like philosopher mom that is so like an almanac, like a female Ben Franklin. I'm kidding. And just who could sustain both love, romantic love, family love, and love for the universe, all in one. And that's so beautiful, and please continue that. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, maybe just dive into that more and find that nurturing nature in yourself and that part of yourself that's connected to spirituality. So let's get some fairy tale oracle cards to see what stories come out for your past life relationship. Okay. All right, guys. Oh. All right, Spirit. What are some stories we have to connect us to pile 2's past life relationship? The Frog Prince, 12. One, Snow White, Purity. Oh my gosh. Ooh. All right. I'll just try to read these with my intuition, because there's a lot, but I mean, you got so many cards as well too, so I feel like you just sustained so much in your past life with your person, and that you were just such a force, and that now that I feel that maybe you don't feel like such a force in your present life, that you're like, how could I be all these things? So let's look at what you got. You got 12, the Frog Prince, Intimacy. And go ahead and look up these stories as well and see what resonates with you within these stories. We have 1, Snow White, purity. We have 19, the little match girl, choice. We got fairies, words. Awakening, 32, Sleeping Beauty. And we got the Tinderbox Soldier, ambition. So what I'm seeing is with these words and awakening, I think that you did try to bring your words out. There was such a push for you to, even though you were mothering, taking care of your family, and you know, having that outlet with your person, you still have this desire to write things down and spread your word to other people because you had an awakening and you were using that wisdom to give other people knowledge in some way. So you could have been like a teacher or someone who just was good at passing down information to their family, to other people, and you did that, and you had a desire to, maybe there was a part of you that was just like, wow, maybe I could, if only I didn't have this family to take care of, I could just be, working as a professor somewhere and get my voice heard. And it just seems like that, with this ambition and choice, is that you had to choose what ambition your ambitions, or your family life, your home life, being a woman in that past time when society really expected women to stay at home and not have a career. And that's what I'm seeing. And then we have purity and intimacy, which I feel that is your connection with your partner that really helped you and really got you through this dilemma of how you were going to spread your word despite what society was, the restraint society put on you. And that it was also just great to have a lover who could match your intellect and not put you down or make you feel bad for having that intellect like other people did. So it's very cool. I feel like you have so much knowledge, and that in this present life, if you don't feel that amazing or that smart, that is probably something you need to overcome and understand what you need to do in the present to continue this beautiful story you had, and not to be let down by the greatness of who you were in the past life, but to take from that and be like, well, my life right now doesn't feel as good as I felt my past life to be, but I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to just keep going at it. And this is just another soul lesson that I'm learning. So let's get some Divine Feminine cards to get a little more insight of maybe what centuries you could have been from, and what feminine energy is guiding you, and maybe feminine energy that represents you in your past life. So let's see what we have for pile 2. See, there we go. It's like, oh, it's like a magic trick. It's popped out of nowhere. Okay, we have like two winged ladies with wing. Oh, with wing. There we go. So we have Freya, which is one of my lovely goddesses here. Freya, goddess of discernment. I spend my time wisely. I only say yes when it's a holy hell yes. Okay, so we'll read about her to gets use a little more insight on your past. And then we have Inanna, the queen of heaven and earth. I have nothing to hide. I see and accept all that I am. Ooh, so a lot of airy energy, because air is that intellect, the thoughts in your head. That's that air energy. You might be an air sign or have air in your chart as well. I have 0 air in my chart, but I still have those intellectual aspects. But I feel like since I don't have any air in my chart, I lose breath. I can't. Sometimes my thoughts get scattered, and I feel like you have such great, sharp control of your thoughts and your wisdom, and that stems from your past life. So let's read about these 2 ladies, and you could resonate with what the time period this is from, or the regions, but we'll see. I think these are both goddesses. Well, let's read this. Let's not see. These are my thoughts, just straying again. So, pardon that. And let's see. Freya. I spend my time wisely. I only say yes when it is a holy hell yes. Who she is. Freya embodies the fierce and finely honed spiritual skill of discerning, the most life-giving choice in each moment. In Norse mythology, Freya is one of the most powerful and important deities. She is chief of the Valkyries, the demi-goddess who choose who will live and who will die during every battle and war. After being Valkyries, the demi-goddess... God... Oh, so sorry. After being Valkyries, the demi-goddess become Norns, the great goddesses who weave the fates and histories of people and nations. Freya rides into battle wearing a magical cloak of falcon feathers and takes half of those fighting. For her Valkyries, she models how to choose. Then she rules over her heavenly afterlife called Sessrumnir. She receives half of all those who die in battle, and the other half go to Valhalla, where the god Odin presides. She wears a legendary necklace or torque named Brisingamen with a powerful jewel that makes her irresistible. It is said to be gleaming and golden. It compels people to her when she calls. When your soul selects her card. Discernment is derived from the Greek word diakrisis. It refers to spiritual power that allows you to distinguish between the spirits that will cause harm and the spirits that will assist you. It lets us discern when a phone call or an email or a visit from a friend is going to add to our day or if it's going to derail it. Discernment is the difference between feeling led by the day, pulled this way and that, and claiming it. Our time in this lifetime, at least, is limited. Every second is significant. Freya reminds us of the searing perception we all have, but perhaps don't use frequently enough. She wants us to be discerning with how we choose to spend our time and whom we choose to love. She wants us to never, ever say yes to anything or anyone from a place of fear or obligation. You are a demigoddess, a Valkyr, a priestess of your own fate. You get to choose the life you want to live, and this happens by being fierce and warrior-like about what you say yes to. Use discernment so that you are only saying yes to what will actually nourish and renew you, inspire or expand you. It's not your business to worry about those you might disappoint. You were not made to meet everyone's expectations of you. You were made to express the truth of who you are and to use the brief time you have to live out your potential. Nothing is obligatory except breathing. Your only true obligation is to the voice of your own soul. Freya wants you to realize the gleaming gold that you are and act accordingly. She wants you to unapologetically choose the life you actually want to be living. right now. She wants you to make your yes holy again by you only using it when it's the truth. The truth. You got that. This is our truth card. And she wants you to know the truth, that you are greater, that you have a past life of greatness and you can continue that on in this life. Soul meditation. What does a holy yes, the holy yes, feel like in my body? So yeah, it feels like this present situation, you don't feel that power, that golden light within you. And you also might look into, maybe you have Norse ancestors as well, and that could be popping up, and you can connect to that ancestral roots as well to empower you. So then we have Inanna. So let's read about her. Inanna. I have nothing to hide. I see and accept all that I am. Inanna represents the power that comes back to us when we accept and integrate our shadow. Inanna was the most prominent female deity in ancient Mesopotamia. At the height of her worship around the Uruk period of 4000 to 2000 BCE, temples and shrines dedicated to Inanna lined the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Her name is Sumerian for Lady of Heaven. Her temples housed her priestesses, and they each would take a man to bed with them on the spring equinox to reenact the divine marriage, or Hieros Gamos, between Inanna and her consort Dumuzi. The Hieros Gamos is an ancient ritual of uniting the opposites from within, the male and female, the light and the dark, and most especially heaven and earth. This theme occurs in accounts of Inanna's descent into the underworld to find her sister, Ereshkigal. She must take off an article of clothing at each of the 7 gates, so that when she finally reaches her sister, she is naked. And when Inanna ascends, she does so with Ereshkigal's power. When your soul selects her card, Inanna goes into the depths of her own unconscious to merge with her own twin sister self. She becomes more powerful because she is no longer using conscious psychic energy to keep her shadow or negative attributes hidden deep underground. She courageously descends and faces the aspects of herself that are hard to get to when she's fully dressed or cloaked heavily in the ego. Inanna is an invitation to get naked. She wants us to drop our defenses. She wants us to see how holy and sacred it is to be vulnerable. As above, so below. This is an alchemical adage that suggests heaven and earth are not so separate. It suggests that within us, deep down in the dark cages where we place parts of ourselves, the truths that exist, there also exist right here on the surface of our everyday lives. So if you're exerting great amounts of energy to keep from seeing our shadow, it is actually playing a large role in our conscious life. When we can face what we think is dark or negative about us, I mean really embrace it and see it for what it is, a beautiful broken place that's a call for love, then we can emerge more whole. We can marry the light and dark aspects of our being. And in uniting with our own twin sister from the depths, we can stop projecting her onto other women. We can see and own the hot mess we often are and not get sabotaged by it. The light must cast a shadow, and the high priestess is the one who gets called to love them both. Can I love my shadow as much as my light? So yeah, I think that confirms that you're not feeling that powerful woman you were, and I feel like you are discouraged and you're holding yourself back because you don't think that you can live up to the person you used to be. But this is all in a past life. This is before you were even born. So you need to let that go and become that full person again, and stop comparing yourself to yourself and lead yourself, just like Inanna did with her twin sister, out into the light. And what the mentioning of the Hieros Gamos and getting the lover swan card, I can see for a lot of you that this is a twin flame connection, and that you need to get in touch with your divine feminine to match your your person now. And I think a lot of you are probably thinking your counterpart is way more successful than you, or they're out of your league, and you just need to, you don't know what to do. So connect with your past life. Go into past life regression and find that the people you used to be, because right now I think you're sad about missing that connection and feeling disempowered. You need your power back. And that's really important message that's coming from your past life. Because in your past life, it was so hard for you to get your voice out. And now it's you, because in your past, it was society who was blocking your voice. Now it's you who is. So chew on that. Let's get some divination blocks. Ooh. Okay, so we only got numbers and a plus sign. Oh my gosh. So maybe you are now or in the past very good at math, I feel like. And these numbers, this can be a 6 or a 9. So we got plus, 5, 6, or 9. Oh my gosh. 0, 4, and a V. Or this could be a O if you want to, if that resonates with you. But I feel like if it wasn't philosophy, it was like math or science, and maybe you could be good at math or science now too. And that I feel like you're holding yourself back in what you potentially want to be. And I think your past self and your higher self are going to help you out. So figure that out. Figure out how to connect your past self. Do a past life regeneration, meditation, and see what comes up for you. And then also learn about connecting to your higher self. So let's get some charms. I just wanted to show you this box for some reason. I feel like your past self would have liked this box. So let's see. Okay. Ooh. So, we got the wishbone. So what I'm getting from this, for some reason I'm getting hope. Like there's like that hope, like when you pull the wishbone that you're going to get your wish, and but it's fragile. It's this fragile hope that you have. And that's what got you through in your past life, is keeping that and being that sustainer, keeping that fragility and hope alive. We also got the music charm. So I'm going to have a song for you guys in the description box for your pile from my As Lovers Go mix to get you some more insight. So music might be important for you as well in the past and the present. We have an I. We have a W. And we have, a little teacup. I kind of see like maybe your past life's in the Victorian era, where women were slowly gaining, forming groups where they could talk intellectually, and women were reading a lot, and it was a time of both intellectual growth for women and intellectual suppression at the same time. So that's what I'm getting as well from this teacup. And then we finally have the butterfly wing. So what I'm getting more of this as like transformation and beauty, and I think we got beauty card. But I just feel like you had this beautiful, both natural beauty and a great way to dress yourself. And I feel like you had beautiful earrings like this, and you may have them now. and that you have this like regal feeling to you, but you were never royalty, but you're like intellectual royalty. I feel like, and I feel like in your present life that you need to bring that out, and that you can not be afraid of affluence, but use affluence for the benefit of yourself and those around you, and to not just be that hated bourgeoisie, but have that discreet charm of the bourgeoisie. Or look up that film. um, so that's all I have for you, pile two. So have a good rest of your time, and I will see you at the next reading. Bye bye. Hey everybody, pile three, and you chose the Not Cool Jewelry charm that says, like, I can't even tell, "You got this." Okay, that's what it says. You can't read it because it's backwards to me right now. But that is from my good friend Not Cool Jewelry, and I'll have the link to her stuff in the description box to check her out. And let's get into your reading, which is what was your past life relationship with the person you were thinking of. So let's get the sword. Live by the sword. Let's see. There's too many. So I'll just get the top one. Put that over. Sword, the forest. Let's see. Althea. Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm sitting sideways. It's getting me all goofy. So let's put these over here. Okay, pile three. The village, the threshold, the vision. I'm getting this like foresty village, possibly island, village island, and then the poet. So let me show you what cards you got. The sword, clarified by the forest. You got Alethea. Whoa! Flew away. Clarified by the village. The threshold, clarified by the vision. And then your overall bottom of the deck energy is the poet. So, what do we have here? So, yeah, I'm seeing, I feel like you were both warriors with the actual sword, with actual weapons, and you were also, there was a poetry you could see to your warringness for both of you, that you were a part of this community together, a part of the village, and that you inspired each other. Alethea is the truth card, It's the ultimate truth. And truth is clarified by the village, by your home, your roots, where you know. And I see you guys living in this like small, I feel like it wasn't small though. It was like 100, like a tribe more. It wasn't like thousands of people, but it could have been hundreds. And yeah, you guys lived in the forest, and but there were times when you had to defend yourselves, or you were both trained in self-defense, and that you both, male and female counterparts, or I mean, you guys could also have been the same sex and been both warriors in this village in a past life as well. But that, again, you both inspired each other here with this threshold clarified by the vision, is that you brought each other to the threshold, to where you needed to be. And that's where you could see the vision. I kind of feel like this person whose feet is right here is going to jump in here, and then this is what they'll see, is like diving into the vision. And so yeah, your overall energy is the poet. So I don't see you as like your main thing was poetry, but maybe you were able to write things down or express what you were feeling or going through at the time through a certain kind of poetry. I'm even kind of getting like cave drawings, or like drawing out pictures, because like the written language wasn't very important to you. In your past life, it was more about oral stories and drawings. I just feel like this very ancient energy, and especially this forest village. This forest village is just like, I feel like I think this is a circle drawn in, but it looks like a little old earthen bowl. And I just feel like you were in this like group, this tribe, and worked together, and that you found such beauty in it and such joy in living in this community with the person that you're thinking of now. And it's great energy. Great energy. So let's get into our fairy tale oracles and see what stories come out to further explain your past life situation. The Wild Swans, dedication. The Goose Girl, you got swans, goose. Finally, the Wood Maiden, with you also got the forest. So we got 42, the Wild Swans, dedication. 15, the Goose Girl, theft. And 39, the Wood Maiden, trust. So a lot of connection with animals. So in this forest village, there was a lot of connection to the earth and animals, and you may have now, you and your person might have deep connections with animals as well. So let's see, the Wild Swans, dedication. Okay. Meaning. Tenacity and dedication work magic. Working through pain to create results. Single-minded passion, misunderstood dedication. Silently working without explanation for a time. Working without the approval of others. So I feel like you were kind of set on being like this very hard warrior person. And it was hard for you to open yourself up to relationships. You were focused on being that warrior, but your person that you're thinking of was like, I can see like a friend or even a lover as well that had to keep up with you, that had to really like understand this like warrior poet magical person that was around them, and that being and I feel like the female counterpart in that past life relationship was intimidating to the to their to their counterpart in the past life, that it was this, that you were so much of everything, that it was very frightening for this person and exciting to be around and to understand that you had these feelings for them. And that might be mirroring right now with your person, that they may be overwhelmed with the kind of person you are, and you may be able to balance a lot of different things in your life, and that you should let your person in more, because that that past life of shutting people out is still reflecting in this present moment. So misunderstood dedication, silently working without explanation for a time, working without the approval of others. So yeah, that is what the story of the Wild Swans is about, is that you're focused, you have this focus and dedication, that you shut people out and are not able to connect with people. Even though you're a strong, powerful person, there's a part of you that is missing, and that's that connection with other people, which you had in your past life, is that difficulty connecting to people. So then we have 15, the Goose Girl. Which is identity theft, authenticity question, blood magic, justice, intimidation, wisdom. There will be those who envy you and try to take what is yours. Know you have your own ancestral guides and strong family ties. Believe justice will be done and the truth will be revealed. Know that who you are cannot be copied. You are protected and cared for. Your status is not why you're alive. Goose Girl, theft. So this is, again, in your past life, this fear that you're going to get hurt, that something precious to you is going to be taken away, that there's always a battle, that you can't just stay the poet. You have to be holding up your sword all the time. And this is what your person in a past life had difficulty with, and might still have difficulty now with you in the present life, is that you're not putting down your armor. You have to put down your armor and your weaponry to let love in. If you're just emotionally shielded all the time, then you're not going to be able to receive that love that you so greatly need, because that was the reason why you put up the shields in the first place, because you were guarding that love that got hurt the first time that you let love out and something negative happened. Then finally, 39, the Wood Maiden. And I'll read this story because I haven't read it yet. The Wood Maiden, trust. The maiden smiled at her and said in a sweet voice, Batushka, do you like to dance? Her manner was so gracious that Batushka no longer felt afraid and answered, Oh, I could dance all day long. A tale of a little girl living alone with her mother in a tumble-down cottage and two little goats. The little girl, despite their circumstances, is always cheerful and in good spirits. Her energy is a delight to be around. She loves the birch wood near the cottage where the goats are pastured in the warm times. So yeah, this small village, forest kind of life. She loves the birch wood near the cottage where the goats are pastured in the warm times. Her job is to care for the goats and spin their fleece throughout the day. Be sure to bring home a full spindle. Betushka, for that is her name, is told each day, and she does. She would go to the birch wood with the trees, and within their embrace she would dance and invent wondrous games and sing to the goats, to the trees and the birds. She would wind the goat's fleece about her head and dance, and after a time of this she would go beneath a tree and begin to spin the wool, humming as she went about her work. Each day her mother gave her a piece of bread, so she was not too hungry and happy. Betushka had no distaff, so she would wound the flax around her head. Then she took the little basket and went romping and singing behind the goats to the birch wood. When they got there, she sat down under a tree and pulled the fibers of the flax from her head with her left hand, and with her right hand let down the spindle so that it went humming along the ground. All the while she sang until the woods echoed and the little goats nibbled away at the leaves and grass. When the sun showed midday, she put the spindle aside, called the goats, and gave them a mouthful of bread, so that they wouldn't stray, and ran off into the woods to hunt berries or any other wild fruit that was in season. Then when she had finished her bread and fruit, she jumped up, folded her arms, and danced and sang. While in the birch wood she would find wild strawberries and raspberries to eat and bring sweetness to her life, and never a frown nor a moment's discontent came to the little girl. She was sweet and merry, little shepherdess. Yet she worked hard and always filled the basket with her spinning. So she was a great help to her mother, and the goats loved her dearly. One day, right as the sun had reached its highest, Betushka spread her arms ready to whirl in her own invented dance of love to the wood of life, to the wood to life. But she was no longer alone. Before her stood a most beautiful maiden, dressed in clothes spun from cobwebs, flowers of the forest in her hair, and long golden hair which fell to her waist. Betushka's mouth fell open in a perfect O of surprise. Betushka, said the maiden without moving her lips, do you love to dance? She was so kind, her voice so gentling, that Betushka suddenly felt her heart fill with sunshine. Yes, she answered with a bright and sweet smile, I could dance all day long. So she and the maiden danced, and as they danced, tall, slender beings with hair of gold and skin of white came forward, playing instruments made of wood and stone, delicate as flowers, and the music was the sweetest ever heard. Birds joined them, and sun and song of the wild things enchanting, unlike any other sound heard by human ears before. Betushka forgot everything but the dance, so complete and alive she felt. They danced till the sun fell from the sky in a sudden dip, and when that last ray of gold penetrated the forest, the maiden vanished along with the orchestra, and finally only the birds remained, singing the song to call their young to the nest. Betushka was unhappy. For the first time, she fretted. She had not done her work, and her mother needed her help. She felt a silence, and even the goats felt her sadness and wondered at what was wrong. In this tale, as you can see, there is a balance between working and the life of dance. Betushka is both responsible and joyous, and has the balance worked out until she is asked to dance with a fairy, and from this time forth she forgets her work. Although the fairy sees to it that her basket's full of spun fleece, Betushka knows for the first time guilt and longing and discontentment. At the same time, she discovers ecstasy and the abandonment of herself. The fairies come to her aid and give her a magical chant. Reel and grumble not, reel and grumble not, and her basket is full each night, spun as if it had indeed, and indeed is, by magic. But her mother knows something is amiss. Her daughter is not the same, and she asks what is wrong. When Betushka finally tells her mother of the dancing and the fae, She brings the spell, and she no longer has this magical help. Her mother grumbles, for she knows her daughter had met a wooden maiden, one who often dances little boys to death, but who can be kind to little girls and offer them their help and great riches. What are we to make of this tale? To never accept magical help? The parents should allow children time to simply be children? But before the spell is broken, little Batushka is gifted birch leaf, which the wood maiden turns to gold. And although there are only a few, they suddenly have enough to buy a farm with a good rich land and strong fine cattle and their own well and trees. Batushka could have dancing shoes and lessons and pretty clothes to wear, but she never attains the same levels of content as she had before meeting the wood maiden, nor does she ever reach the ecstatic heights the fairy dance gave her. And she never meets the wooden maiden, never again, even though she longed to dance with her every day. This is a card that encourages you to trust at this moment that although what is taking place seems unreal and you will doubt your own experience, you would do best to trust that it has taken place for a reason. The gifts you have been offered need not be questioned. It's time to arrest cynicism and to be careful in some ways. They will rob you. It's time to arrest cynicism and be careful of who you share the gift with. Some will disbelieve you, and in some ways they will rob you of what is most precious. It is now a time to believe and to share, and to know that there is an other world, a fairyland, and its denizens are your allies at this time. Hold close this gift, the trust that it is as it seems to be. It is good and it is true. Meaning, trust in a gift given. Be content with simple things. A good nature brings great rewards. Fairies come to the innocent and the sweet of temperament. Even small rewards can yield great changes. Awareness can come at a price. Traditional Czech fairy tales. So your past life, you could have some Czech ancestry as well. So check into that. And also what I'm seeing is that, oh my gosh, sorry, I am retrograding again. I'm getting these brain farts. Well, yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say. So yeah, just look into that. Fairy magic. So there's a lot of this woodland creature, and maybe you just need to go to the woods to really open yourself up to the earth, to the universe, and get in touch with that fairy magic. Look fairy magic up and how you can work with it. I think that will be very helpful for you. So let's get some Divine Feminine Oracle cards so we can get more insight of possible times and place of your past life, and any divine feminine energy that's guiding you as well. So let's see what we have here. Anandamaima. Not yet. One more key. All right. Mioshan. Okay. Yeah. So you got Anandamayi, the joy permeated mother. It's a nice card. Then we got Mio Shan, the Princess of Mercy. And let's see. So let's start with Anandamayi, the joy permeated mother. And it says, I am my own guru. I know the self that never changes. There you go. Okay. Anayandamayima represents the essence of the expansive joy that comes when we remember our true self. Nirmala Sundari, which means beautiful one in Bengali, was born in the late 19th century in what is now Bangladesh. Her family questioned her mental stability because from an early age she was always found in bhavas, or ecstatic states of bliss. At 13, she was married to a man who would later name Bolantath, and he supported her life as a mystic and saint. At 26, Nirmala enacted her own spiritual initiation. The ceremony and rites were spontaneously revealed to her from within. She explained, as the master, I revealed the mantra. As the disciple, I accepted and started to recite it. In the 1920s, she set up a Kali temple and devoted her life to spiritual practices. She began to be recognized as the living embodiment of the divine feminine and as the incarnation of Kali as divine love. Her first disciple named her Andamayima, joy-permeated mother, because her blissful states would inspire others to remember that innate path to joy. Her first ashram was built in 1929. Her profound spiritual teachings began to attract scholars, philosophers, artists, and other contemporary mystics like Paramahansa Yogananda. She refused to be called a guru, insisting that we are all ultimately one self. She loved all living creatures exactly the same, including herself. Anandamayima gave the red thread to women for this reason, which was a sacred right of bestowing spiritual authority previously only given to men. When your soul selects her card, there's a passage in Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda that relates an encounter he had with Anandamayima. He asked her why she is always so filled with joy and can enter states of bliss instantly. She explains to him that she's aware of her true self. She knows that before she came to earth, she was the same. As a little girl, and later when she grew into a woman, still she was the same. And now, sitting in front of Yogananda, she remains the same. And even after death, she says, though the dance of creation changes around me, I shall be the same. This is self-realization, merging with that aspect within us that never changes. It's becoming conscious of the self that is eternal while within the brief mortal existence. Anandamayi believed that the only true calling or purpose any of us have is to become realized. And so she believed that any action we take toward that goal is sacred. That there's a deep calm and abiding joy that arrives when we can merge with the aspect of us that never changes. There is a bliss we get to experience every time we detach from the surface storms that cause chaos in our lives. If we can remember that we are the guru, that we are an aspect of the divine that remains the same no matter how much change surrounds us, then we can get to arrive at a joy that lives at the core of our being. Soul voice meditation. What does joy feel like in my body? Intention. I am my own guru, and I know the self that never changes. So yeah, diving in to that joy you feel can really get you out of that bubble of pushing people out. You can feel joy, and it's helpful to feel that within so that you can connect with people and that people can radiate towards you instead of you going towards them. And so then we also have Mio Shan, the Princess of Mercy. Giving is receiving. The energy of the universe is merciful. So let's read about her. The Princess of Mercy. Giving is receiving. The energy of the universe is merciful. Who she is. Mio Shan represents the incarnation, fulfillment, of mercy. She was a Chinese princess who is believed to have lived during the Tang Dynasty, 618 to 907, and to have been the incarnation of the goddess Kuan Yin. She was the daughter of a king who wanted her to marry a wealthy man in order to secure more wealth and power for himself. When she refused, the king sent her to live in a monastery on a secluded island off the coast of China. When the king found out that Mio Shan had transformed the barren island into a paradise, he got so angry that he ordered the monastery to be burned to the ground. But when Mio Shan saw the monastery flames, she pricked the tip of her tongue with a hairpin and magically summoned a storm that put out the fire. The king then ordered Mio Shan's execution, but no blade or sword would kill her. Instead, each weapon shattered into pieces before touching her body. After several attempts, a gorgeous glowing white tiger appeared and spirited Mio Shan away. The tiger took her to meet Yama, the ruler of hell. Mio Shan immediately heard the suffering of the souls all around her, and one by one she liberated them with the fierce power of her empathy. Yamu had to send Mio Shan away because she was transforming hell into heaven. He gave her the peach of longevity as a gift. Mio Shan meditated for many years on the island of Puto Shan. News reached her that the king was on the verge of death and that he needed the eyes and arms of a person without anger in order to live. Mio Shan gave him her eyes and arms. The king was revived and came to honor the person who had saved her life. When he saw that his savior was Mio Shan, he felt his knees humbled by the extent of her mercy. When your soul selects her card, the author Sue Monk Kidd articulates the process of empathy so clearly when she writes, "Empathy is the most mysterious transaction that the human soul can have, and is accessible to all of us, but we have to give ourselves to the opportunity to identify, to plunge ourselves in a story where we see the world from the bottom up or through another's eyes or heart. Empathy is mercy's twin sister. When we can feel into the reality of someone else's suffering, we open to the possibility of mercy. Mercy comes from the old Etruscan merc, which means exchange. Mercy is the embodiment of compassion. It can feel easy or even natural to have compassion for people who have never harmed us personally. But mercy is having compassion for someone who has. Mercy requires that we give something to ourselves, which is symbolized by Mio Shan giving her eyes and arms to the king. It can feel like a great sacrifice to be so giving towards someone who has given us nothing but suffering. Here's what the magic comes in. The law of the universe is merciful. The more we give, the more we receive. When the king realized that profound act of mercy his daughter bestowed on him, Mio Shan transformed into her true manifestation as the 1,000-armed Kuan Yin. Mio Shan was a reminder that giving is the true receiving. When we refuse to release our anger towards someone, we are blocking the flow of the universe within me. We are not harming the person who harmed us by remaining angry. We are keeping ourselves from receiving the love and light that is already ours. Soul meditation. Who can I give mercy to in this moment? So yeah, meditate on that word mercy, because it seems like from your past life you've blocked yourself so much that there's a lot of anger built up, and that those blockages that you had, those wounds, those fears that you had of people that kept people out are actually from a past life, and that you need to let that go to move on in your present situation. So finally we're going to have some divination blocks, and then we'll do some stamps and charms. Oh, you have the xylophone. Ooh, we got a lot of animals. We've got, so we had the xylophone, I was gonna say frog, the turtle, and then we have the frog, butterfly, dragonfly, and what was this? Oh, W. A W. So what I have here is this slow transformation going on, that you're going to let people in so that you can spiritually transform. And look up these animals' spiritual meanings also, if that has any significance to you. I think that this xylophone represents you going up that scale. And maybe you'll go back down, but it's making this beautiful music. And you just remember that poet part of you, the poet in you that understands this beauty in nature and how everything works out, and that you can open yourself up and let love in, which is really important, so that you can become your happiest self. So everyone else is happy if you're happy. So finally, we have some charms. Okay. And we have the dog collar. We have the dog collar for, I think, pile 1. And for you guys, I feel like it's this loyalty that you have for people, but that you're hiding it. You're not putting on the loyalty collar and accepting that you have great love for people and that you need to open yourself up so that you and your counterpart, the person you're thinking of, can open up that relationship as well from your past, that friendship you had. I feel like you guys had a deep, deep friendship. We have the lizard, so I feel like he goes with this amphibian turtle lizard theme. So maybe that's like significant to you in your past. If you were living in the forest, you maybe saw some lizards and turtles and frogs in your past life. We have this stamp. It's an acorn that's growing, like right here. It like looks to me like this is an acorn, and all this, the plant is coming out of the acorn. So this growth, moving up. We got the wishbone, and what I feel for you guys, pile 3, is that this wishbone is an opportunity to really get what you want, and not just through voicing your opinion or telling people what you want, but by your actions, by what you do, that people will take that chance with you, and you take that chance with them, because you've been hurt before, but you need to be done and let go of that pain so that you can open yourself to love, especially if you're in separation from this person. Then we have G, and we have another W. So W may be significant to you. All right, pile number 3. Thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next reading. Bye.